Welcome to the Neighborhood Watch Party podcast with George, James, and Drew. While we may essentially just be fans of the sport, we passionately debate it weekly and have recorded it here for your viewing pleasure. Check out our social media in the description to find us on other platforms. Please enjoy. Alright, we've made it. Double-digit episodes. We've done it. We did something longer than like 3 weeks, like our D&D groups, guys. We did it. Welcome to the podcast, though. We are in our 10th week, if that didn't give it away. And we've got it's a little bit of a weird week. It's sort of like a bye week for us because there's not a lot going on in the NFL anymore. We do have the Super Bowl a couple weekends away still, or I guess a weekend away now. We're recording this on Sunday night. However, there's been some interesting stuff going on in the league for the past week or so. We still got to talk about those first games that came on last weekend, too. But we've also got a lot of interesting stuff starting to look into some other sports, maybe. And so we're going to get into this podcast the same general way we do. Things might look a little different in episodes going forward, so we might have to discuss that little formatting going on later. But, again, we started to see a little input from the community. I don't know if you guys saw. We do have potential community watch teams for the NBA. We've got two. We've got, I think it was the Nuggets or the Kings. That's what the one comment said. I think that was one of George's buddies, I think.
Oh, really?
I'd root for the Nuggets. I'd root for the Nuggets. That'd be fun.
No, fuck the Nuggets, dude. They're
doing well.
Exactly. We can't pick the team.
No, but my point is like the Nuggets
for the
are definitely the better team of the two. But like so hear me out. Like I know Jokic is on the Nuggets, but like, is there anyone else? Is there anyone else on the Nuggets other than Jokic?
Jamal Murray, Aaron
Jamal
Gordon.
Murray.
Yeah, that feels a bit too loaded. I kind of want to be like, I want to pick like the bottom of the bucket and just be like in
Who's the
pain.
really good player for the Kings again? I honestly forget.
Well, they got because they
De'Aaron
got didn't they
Fox.
trade Halliburton away? Already, like Halliburton's not there anymore, right?
They have DeMontis Sabonis.
Oh yeah, I think that's who they got for maybe. Yeah, not. We'll figure that out more specifically, but we could definitely discuss that a bit more thoroughly in the upcoming weeks. However, we do have some stuff going on again this week. Where's the like bets from last week? They didn't get updated. I guess I should have updated that.
It's fine. The only thing that matters is that Nider's up by 1, and George is obviously down by 1.
Yeah,
And
me and
I'm
George
out.
made the
So
same
far
picks
I'm
last
so
week.
far out of the running that I'm in relegation.
Yeah. Me and George had the same picks going into last week, just our locks flipped and both ended up going, so we're still at a very tight race going into the last game of the NFL season. And so it's anybody's game. Me and George both got a lot of the line here. We never ended up betting anything on this like we said we were going to, but it's too late now. I don't want to do it.
Pick it.
Nah,
Let's
it's
pick
too late
something.
now, dude. Too late.
Too late. It's never too late.
I think it is. But
Never too late.
But with that, I think we could start getting into those last games. Do we want to do our favorite teams first, just because there wasn't, like, I don't know how much news you guys actually have.
I have some breaking news for the Browns.
Okay, I've got a little bit.
I've got
Myles Garrett just dislocated his toe in the Pro Bowl.
Oh yeah, you did say that.
Down for 3 years. He's out for 3 years, right? Yeah.
Hopefully he recovers.
That's your Browns news for the week.
Oh.
4 Browns in the Pro Bowl, though, so that was cool.
Steelers. 2 Steelers news. I got 2 important pieces of information. 1, Antonio Brown is crazier than we thought, and he said that Vontaze Burfict didn't give him CTE, but James Harrison instead, apparently on Twitter. And
But is this the first time he's publicly admitted to having CTE?
well, that's the thing. I think so. So like, we're stepping in the right direction. It would make sense. You might not I mean, I think it's just not one hit too. From my that's not what CTE is. Like even if it was the perfect hit that like put him over the edge, like you got to get hit a lot before that to do that. Right? That's how CTE like generally works.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like damage to your brain over time instead of like I mean you could get it after like one hit, but
I bet one hit could give you CTE.
yeah, I'm
I
sure
don't know
like
if that's
one hit
necessarily
can.
how it happens in the NFL.
Yeah, but the other issue
I'm
is
sure it's one of these things that like multiple hits is more likely to give it to you over one hit.
I
You know what
really
I mean?
I really think Antonio Brown needs to like submit his body to science and let us figure out what in the heck happened to him. Really, it'd be a big, glorious gift to the NFL that we really need. And I really do care about the dude. And I really would like my merch. I really would like my autographs and stuff of him to start going back up in value. Because
I'll tell you what, the last thing the NFL wants is to find out what happened to Antonio Brown's brain.
Oh, but maybe the NFLPA does.
That lawsuit will be crazy.
Maybe the NFLPA does, though. There is insights into this that we keep trying to go. Less important, though, George Pickens has dumped the NFL young boy name. So I will not be using it anymore. My boy is just GP now. And that's official.
But that's his name. That's his name now.
He's GP. That's the nickname now. For George Pickens. He's GP.
He's not number 3. GP3 would be kind of...
No, GP14 is just a little weird, but I mean... I'll take it. I do agree, NFL Youngboy, like he said, felt a bit cheesy after a while. Yeah. He was just like...
I didn't even know that was his nickname, to be fair. I had no clue.
I saw some good Steelers-related content on Twitter. I saw someone with a number 8 Steelers jersey, but the name on the last name on the back was Pickens, not Pickett. One of those good DH Gate jerseys.
Nice. Love those jerseys.
I think that's all for the Steelers, though. I mean, hopefully Matt Canada is still okay after being told he has a job. I don't know what the city of Pittsburgh might have done to him after finding out we have him for another year or so, but hopefully he's safe.
You never know. He might not make it through next year.
That we don't know. If there's one thing like the Steelers won't do, it's admit they're having a problem mid-season.
So wait till the end.
Yeah.
They're too prideful for that.
Yeah, they'll wait till Mike Tomlin gets us back over 500, and then we'll be like, it was all part of the plan, but we can do better.
It's true. Or 8-1.
Any Commanders news, though, James?
A little bit. Two things and then one potential theory. So the first thing, which is mildly important, it's not really important to the Commanders, but just kind of funny. The Raiders officially hired Scott Turner as their assistant OC and passing game coordinator. So, good luck to the Raiders with that one. I feel bad for their offense.
I knew their offense was going down when they got rid of Derek Carr.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. There's rumors out now that the Raiders were really thought they were going to get Brady after he left Tampa Bay. And now that he retired, they've been trying to secretly mend the relationship with Carr for the past 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Carr does not care.
Because
Carr just doesn't care.
Again, I feel like I may have mentioned that last week. Brady to Las Vegas felt right.
I think they thought it was going to happen, and then he retired.
Hey, listen, if Tom showed us anything, his retirement does not mean he is retired.
Yeah, but we can get into Tom Brady retirement later. That was the kind of outside Commanders news that still kind of had ties with the Commanders. The other thing that happened is Ron Rivera interviewed Anthony Lynn for the OC position. They haven't officially made a hire yet, but they interviewed Anthony Lynn for the position while Ron was in California for the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So that's just another name to add to the list of potential offensive coordinators for Washington. Will they hire someone good? Maybe, maybe not. There's a chance they hire Eric Bieniemy. That actually, I think, came out that we didn't talk about. Bieniemy has been linked to 5 possible teams hiring him for an OC. One of them is Washington. So we will see if the Commanders can get him. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's a chance. And then my theory. This is just pure speculation, just because I've seen how this team works. I feel like during, either very close to the Super Bowl or during it, some news is going to come out about Washington ownership. There's no rumor out right now about that happening, but I can just feel it. I just feel like something is going to happen. Maybe there's nothing, but I feel like something will come out during the Super Bowl.
The Washington Prime.
Yeah. The Washington Prime.
It's I hate that it's not even. I hate that it's not that bad of a
just wait for you to need an Amazon Prime subscription to watch your team, James.
Listen, we've talked about this. I think the Washington Primals would not be a terrible name. I mean,
It
it's better than
would
the
be the
Commanders.
Primal. Liver King's not buying you guys.
No, but that's what it would be instead of the Washington Prime, the Primals.
It would just be the Prime. There's no way Bezos would move away from his brand.
He isn't.
Your new logo will
Prime
be
is
the
his name.
AWS smiley face.
Absolutely.
All right.
On the side of your
I don't-
helmet. And it'll be in brown. It'll be in like the Amazon brown, not even in the red and yellow.
See, I'll be mad if a burgundy and gold. Burgundy and gold. Calm down over there. But if they got rid of team colors, then I would be very angry. But I don't care if Bezos.
Oh, it just becomes the Amazon gray and blue, like the Titan.
Yeah.
I would be so angry. I think I might. If they did that, I might just stop thinking about it. That would be so
You
angry.
could just Jacksonville full time.
I give you a full-time Jacksonville fan. I'd have to look for a new team. That would be an interesting search.
I don't think I could ever leave the Steelers. I was talking to Rez this week, George, about how he left the Browns for the Bengals following.
He's a fake fan, dude.
Nah, I listen. Hiring Deshaun Watson, I think, is one of the few things that there's a legitimate reason to be like, I don't want to support this
You
franchise.
have multiple big Ben Roethlisberger's jerseys in your bedroom.
Yeah,
probably.
if you were comparing the Ben Roethlisberger and Deshaun's 60 cases, I think
Deshaun Watson has 0 rape allegations. Ben Roethlisberger has 2.
Whoa. You're saying he has 0 allegations?
0 rape allegations. They're all just sexual misconduct.
Oh yeah, okay. Listen
I'm
to
not
yourself
kidding.
speak.
Look 'em up,
Listen
dude.
to yourself speak.
They're not even sexual assault cases.
Deshaun hired a better lawyer than Ben Roethlisberger is what happened.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson raped no one. And I'm going to leave it at that. Or he's accused of raping no one.
Now y'all gotta put a trigger warning on this episode.
Yeah.
It's already flagged for not for mature audiences or something like that. I don't care. It's
Not for mature audiences. Yeah,
But I don't know. Is Rez gonna quit being a Bengals fan now that all this stuff about Joe Mixon came out?
I
That
mean,
was dropped.
You're telling me Deshaun Watson and Joe Mixon both aren't guilty in court? You think Joe Mixon didn't do it?
I've heard about Joe Mixon. He mentioned it. The thing is again, it's like, what did Joe Mixon do?
He
Pointed a gun
in a woman's head and told her to do something.
Again, I would much rather. I'd support Joe Mixon 99 times out of 100 over Deshaun Watson.
Here's the point. I'm not trying to fucking compare them for the sense of which was worse. I'm trying to make the point that if you're gonna leave one team because a player on their team did something bad, then just
He's not
go to
leaving
another
the team because the player did something bad. He's yelling at the team because the player was accused of 60 instances of doing something bad.
It was 26. Let's not misinform people here.
Well, it was 60. They reduced it down to 36 actual claims.
26.
It got over 30. There was a point where it's over 30. And isn't there,
All right.
isn't there still two
My
going
point
on
still
right
stands. Doing bad things to 30 people.
26. Goddamn page Brad.
Whatever, 26 people.
I'm downloading points, bet Steve.
My point is, it's not because
no,
you're
my
doing something
point
bad.
is-
It's
my point
what
is,
just
I
Joe
don't-
Mixon did is significantly better, in my opinion, than what Deshaun Watson is accused of.
All I'm saying is, I think it's silly to root for a team for your whole life and let morals start changing. Like, here's my thing. When all that was happening, I was like, how am I not going to root for Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett? You know what I mean?
You can still root for them by being a fan of their team.
Yeah, you could be a fan of a
fan
player.
team.
Like, I'm a Trae Young fan in the NBA, but I haven't watched
Okay,
a Hawks game ever.
I like 52 of the 53 people on the Browns' 53-man roster. So I root
yeah,
for
you can-
52 individual players and not the team.
I mean, pretty
See, when I
easily, yeah,
root
you could do that.
so you got to remember, George, you're not just rooting for the team.
Oh,
We're
this is
rooting for a
ridiculous.
franchise.
This is ridiculous.
You're rooting for a franchise. And in the same way that the Steelers base had people leave when the whole Benz thing went down.
No, they did not.
I mean,
no
not
one in Pittsburgh gave two shits.
I'm not saying people in Pittsburgh. Zach's not in Cleveland. What are you talking about? If you think your fans are only in your city, I mean, maybe I understand you're a Browns fan. There's not a lot of you. You don't understand having fans outside of like a.
We're the most loyal fan base in the NFL.
That's completely different from having the most fans. Those are two different things.
No, Niter said there's not a lot of us. We sell out. The Browns Stadium sells out more than any stadium in the NFL.
Again, that's not what he said.
Are you arguing the Browns fan base is more widely recognized in the United States than the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base?
I don't have to say that to say we're not.
George, do you think fans in Cleveland that live in Cleveland and go to all the games are more diehard than Cleveland fans who have never been to a game and maybe live in California? Say.
Better.
That's what I'm asking.
This is simply non-unique to your argument.
It is, because my point is Zach isn't I've lived in Cleveland my whole life. This is my franchise. He lives in where we live, and just as much as he could have been a Niners or
was a diehard Browns fan, had a Browns themed bedroom, went to all the Browns training camp.
George, you're the one not listening to what I'm saying. I'm not saying Zach wasn't a fan. What I'm saying is, when you have someone who isn't as centrally localized, yes, he liked the Browns. I'm not saying he had another.
I don't think the localization has to do shit with it.
I did. Okay.
James is still a fan of Washington, and his owner did a bunch of fucked up shit.
Oh yeah, I hate my owner. I hate him entirely.
But you're still a fan of Washington, right?
Yeah, I am.
So I could hate Deshaun Watson and still be a fan of Cleveland.
You can. But I don't think you can fault people for not. Again, I'm not saying you can't be a Browns fan. You're the one saying Zach has to be a Browns fan. Always.
Yeah, like George, even if you want to use the Washington...
When did I say that?
Because you're making fun of him for being a fake fan.
Oh, what I'm saying is...
Oh.
There's probably not an NFL team in the league that has... 53-man roster with no one doing a bunch of fucked up shit.
Yeah, so if you have someone who
your NFL team based off morals is just ridiculous.
Okay, who is morally the worst person in the NFL actively right now, George, player wise?
Oh, I guess Henry Ruggs doesn't count, does he?
Nope.
Not actually.
If you answer anybody but Deshaun Watson, you're out of your brain.
Oh, dude, there has to be worse people. I promise there's worse people than Deshaun Watson.
Name one.
I'd have to think on it. This isn't something I come up with on the top of my head.
Anyway, this argument doesn't matter. George didn't listen to what you were saying, so we're just not going to continue this.
My point is, if you want to switch fan bases because your fan base hires someone who you think is significantly worse than the average person, I think you should be allowed to leave. Just like when LeBron leaves. Like, nobody yelled at me for being a fake Cleveland fan.
He's allowed to leave.
No, but my point is, I was a Cleveland fan growing up. When LeBron left, I went somewhere else. Nobody called me a fake fan. It's because I'm not from Cleveland. I don't care about them that much, and it's not a central thing.
Ada Rise has a pretty good one, but he's not in the league anymore.
Oh, that was
we let Michael Vick come back.
Dog.
What else we got?
I still feel like that's not as bad
Yeah.
as Watson. Well, maybe the Bills punter you could argue is close, but I don't want to argue who's worse.
No, that's the thing.
Better or worse.
We don't need to be.
Everyone is making me Google this right now.
No, my issue is again, George. This whole thing started because you're angry that a fan left because you picked up a potential predator, like.
Well,
I'm not
potential.
I'm not angry that Zach left, and Zach can do whatever he wants to. Like I've said 3 times now. All I'm saying is, I think the fact that you left the team because a dude did something messed up, and now a dude on your new favorite team did something messed up, and you don't care. It's funny.
He does care.
He's a bandwagon.
I mean, he did live in Cincinnati.
First of all, he did not live in Cincinnati. He lived in Oxford. Second of all, it feels like Zach used Deshaun Watson as an excuse to join a bandwagon because he had to watch a losing franchise for the first 21 years of his life.
Bro, you can have your opinions on this. I mean, y'all are picking it up, first off. Again. Second, like, it's not like you've been the worst as much as I think you guys are.
No, I think like in our lifetime, we've probably been the worst franchise in the NFL.
Oh,
It's either Browns or Lions.
Yeah.
Too.
At least the Lions had a generational talent at wide receiver and running back.
Hey, we did too.
And quarterback.
Gordon. Hey, we've had Josh Gordon and Nick Chubb.
Dude, Josh Gordon had like one good year.
Dude, Josh Gordon was a generational talent that got suspended from the league 5 times for weed.
Only 5?
It might have been more.
Anyway, do you guys want to talk about the?
Yeah, we can actually get into the games. I feel like we still haven't talked about last week's games. I feel like. Should we start with the less controversial one first?
Oh yeah, we'll start with the less controversial one.
Because the Eagles obliterated. I mean, don't get me wrong. They were playing Christian McCaffrey at quarterback. You're not going to win that game.
He only had one play at quarterback.
No, but if Christian McCaffrey snaps the ball as a quarterback in the game, I'm willing to bet all my money that they aren't winning that game.
No, you gotta put more context into it.
I mean, they weren't going to... Sorry, what?
I mean, go ahead, James. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, to put context into it, Brock Purdy had a torn UCL, and he couldn't throw, and I don't even remember. What was Josh Johnson's injury? Did he hurt his ankle, or did he also...
No, I understand the QBs got injured. That's my point. Yeah. My point is, if enough QBs are getting hurt, that Christian McCaffrey gets to snap the ball at QB. Like, I would always bet that they're going to lose.
The fact that they had Brock Purdy back in the game just to hand off the ball because they didn't have anyone else that could play QB is incredible. That's insane to me.
So my question is, why are you going into the NFC Championship game with only 2 QBs on your roster?
Isn't it the rule you're only allowed to have 2 on the active roster?
You can have 3. We always brought Dobbs. We always brought Dobbs and Mason when we had Ben
you
because
could probably have 4.
Well, the idea, George, is again you have. I feel the idea is
100% have 3. I know.
Yeah, you can have 3. The issue is, George, usually you don't lose 2 QBs in a game. And while I understand you can bring 3, when you run such a high octane offense like them, you need more receivers and backs. I feel like. When you've got guys like C-Mac running around doing the stuff they're doing, when you've got Debo doing what he's doing, you need more people in those ranks to refresh them.
Well, if this game showed us anything, you need 3 QBs.
Oh, no. Again, my point is when teams bring 3 QBs, it's usually because they have a reason to think that their quarterback will get hurt. Again, the teams you see bring 3 quarterbacks are the teams who have Ben Roethlisberger starting, and it's because Ben is going to break at least twice a season, so we need these options.
All right, let's talk about the game. This is what happened. Eagles are better than the 49ers, and they showed it. I think if Brock Purdy plays the whole game, the Eagles still win, maybe by multiple scores.
I don't know, man.
I don't think the game gets that wide. Yeah, it's a completely different game once Brock goes out.
Brock Purdy got hurt in the middle of the first quarter, and I've seen Josh Johnson play for my NFL team. I've seen him play. It is not pretty at all. It is not good. Josh Johnson is not a good player.
Josh Johnson did lead the only scoring drive for the 49ers.
Yeah,
that is the problem. Yes, you've targeted the problem.
Good job, George. Their fourth string QB led a single touchdown drive in a game. How many has Brock Purdy led since he started for the 49ers?
They actually played a real defense.
I point out that Joshua Dobbs was signed 14 days before his first start, and he almost led a win against the Cowboys. I don't want to hear you want to see performance.
Josh Dobbs is better than Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson
probably, yeah. I want Josh Dobbs back. I don't like that we got rid of Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs is the perfect quarterback to have on your practice squad to pretend to be Lamar.
The Eagles ran the ball all over the supposed best defense in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been
like,
saying I think the Chiefs' D is stronger for a while.
You're
Okay,
absolutely insane.
But I have been
That is
saying
insane.
it. But I've been saying
That
it.
is insane.
Have I been saying
However,
it?
I also
The
want to
Eagles
point
ran
out.
for 148, which is solid.
I also want to point out though that the Eagles offense really didn't do much for that game until the end of the second quarter during a drive where I think there was like 5 to 6 penalties on San Fran. Half of them were okay calls. The other half were pretty bad calls.
I
And
don't
at that
remember any bad calls in that game, really.
I remember these. I mean,
Face masks and egregious pass interference. Like,
they were pretty
pulling
good amount.
people to the ground, egregious. Not
Pretty
like,
bad
oh,
calls.
he bugged him on his break. It was like, no, he brought him to the ground on his break.
James, are there any penalties you specifically have in mind?
I don't remember now because the game was so long ago. I just remember that drive. Like the ones Steve's talking about are legit. I will 100% give him that. Like that did happen, but there were also penalties that were very much like should not have been called in those instances. I don't remember now.
Taylor Heineke against the Eagles. That's where I was.
That wasn't a weak call. I'm just like that wasn't a weak call. That was a correct call. The dude slid and got up and got hit. Same call. It was the same level of call as Mahomes getting hit out of bounds, which was the correct call.
Oh, do not compare those two plays.
They're
Oh,
they're the exact same. What do you mean?
Oh no,
they're
they're
the exact same
not,
situation.
dude.
They're the exact same situation.
Oh,
What are you
they're
talking
not.
about?
No, they're not. Dude, they're not even close to the same situation.
Okay.
Taylor Heineke fell to the ground in the middle of the field.
He didn't
Mahomes
fall
was
to
running out of bounds.
George, I think you really need to see an ophthalmologist, bro, or an optometrist. Get some glasses. It was very clear he slipped. But, you know, let's start with the fact that he was clearly
James,
slipped.
if he slid, James, doesn't that mean he did something different than Patrick Mahomes, who was running out of bounds?
Okay, fine. You know what? Whatever. I don't care. I'm not having this stupid argument. It's like the penalties were against the QBs that should not have been called, or they should have been called. They were correctly called. There you go. And Graham, don't text me saying something different just after the fact. I don't fucking care. I don't need to do this.
Yeah, no. All right. Anything else here? Anything else, guys? We let it all out? We let out our fighting?
No, I don't care.
I think it's about to get worse.
Just
Yeah.
move on. I don't care.
All right. Because this is the next game. Some people like to argue is a little controversial. And so if you want to argue that, George, I mean, you could start this game. You could take it because I'd like to hear what you have to say about this game.
Bengals, Chiefs. Tight game. Chiefs came out firing. Big shout out to my boy, Marquez, Valdez, Scantling, MVS baby. He had a big game.
Shout out Chris Jones getting.
I had
MVS
MVS
sacks.
Yeah, Chris Jones, 2 sacks, 6 QB hits, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Huge game.
Most in
postseason history after having a kind of a dud postseason career to date. But Joe Burrow started coming out, lighting it up. The Bengals offensive line, I mean, it looked like a repeat of last year in the playoffs. They were just letting Burrow get killed. In the second half, they shapened up. They're keeping a lot of backs in. They were keeping Hayden Hurst in the block. Just having to win some double teams in the secondary, and they were winning them. But in the end, too little, too late. There was a correct roughing the passer call on Patrick Mahomes as he was running. Not roughing the passer, unnecessary roughness call, late hit on Patrick Mahomes when he was running out of bounds at the end of the game. That shoved the Chiefs right into field goal range as time was getting ready to expire, and Harrison Butker put it through. Now, I think in my 21 years, I mean, maybe I wasn't watching football when I was a newborn, but in my probably 15 years of aggressive football watching, this was the worst officiated game.
Fourth quarter.
Overall, forget fourth quarter. Overall, the worst officiated game I'd ever watched in football. There was some egregious calls. There were some egregious missed calls. There was a punt return by Sky Moore that he took for 30 yards that set the Chiefs up in awesome field position at the end of the game. And there was probably a minimum of 3 blocks in the back on that return. On the play where Joseph Asai shoved Patrick Mahomes after he was out of bounds to give him 15 yards, there was multiple Bengals pass rushers who were held into oblivion, dude. Like, they held him. It couldn't have been a more obvious holding call. There were just missed call after missed call, terrible call after terrible call. Every single one seemed to go in the Chiefs' way. Every single one. But, like, the Bengals had 10 penalties in the fourth quarter compared to none for the Chiefs. So, I remember the whole game. I was just sitting there absolutely astonished on what was happening, and I'd never more in my life felt the NFL's rigged for a Kelsey Bowl until
I don't know.
that game happened.
I don't know how the Bengals had 10 penalties in the fourth quarter when they had 9 for the whole game. But I mean, hey, I guess I'm blind and I can't read stats.
Oh, James, you must have missed them, man.
I guess.
See, here's my thing. I agree with this assessment of the game with some minor details. I have been the one this whole fucking season to call the NFL rigged. And while I agree, if you want to take this at like a really surface level analysis of just like, oh, I was watching it, you can be like, oh, this looks bad. But if we like look at what happened, let's look at what you said. What was happening this game, I agree. The first half, the pass rush of the Chiefs was obliterating Joe Burrow. You know what happened at halftime? And you know why they started actually holding them a little bit? That exact word, George. Yeah, there was a missed holding call on that last play with Pat Mahomes. There's holding on every single play of football. The question...
No, there's
the
not.
question...
No, there's not.
Yes,
No,
there
there's
is.
not.
Yes, there is.
No,
The
there's
question...
not.
George,
That's a
you
blatant
have
fucking lie.
said so many times every time we watch football, dude. If you slow down everything, you can find a holding call on every play.
That's
So
true.
I don't wanna hear
The
you
question...
start
It's
saying,
not a
"Oh,
question
you
of
have
whether or
every
not
play
there's a
every-"
holding. It's a question of whether or not the holding significantly affected the play. When you hold Cameron Hayward running up the middle and it doesn't get to Deshaun, you get the call. When you hold TJ Watt coming around the right side and Deshaun Watson runs to the left, you don't get the call. It's a question of whether or not the holding significantly affected the play. And when we see is the only reason that play happened is because Joseph Asai decided to tackle Patrick Mahomes out of bounds. As much holding calls that might have been missed, you only need to look to the game afterwards and the players themselves blaming him on his team and himself blaming him to know that that play is Joseph Asai's fault, not the refs. Like, but let's talk about the other stuff. Like,
Didn't blame the refs on that call.
You're saying it's rigged. Who are you blaming?
I said it was the most egregiously reffed game I'd ever seen in my life. But I started the front of that monologue by saying that was the correct call against Joseph Asai.
Oh, yeah. No, but you're saying it should have been offset by a holding, which I disagree.
Did you watch that play?
Yeah, because the holding didn't affect it.
The Chiefs' right tackle, Andrew Wiley, had Trey Hendrickson around the fucking neck.
Was he holding his jersey?
Yeah. No, it was around the neck. No, like that. I don't know what George is talking about when he said he saw 3. I saw 1, and I'll give you that they missed a holding call. But dude, every game I've watched in the NFL, there are missed holding calls.
Like yes,
I had to watch a playoff game 2 years ago where one of the highlight pictures is Tom Brady throwing a deep ball, and guess who's being pushed, and then it's hand to the face on my D tackle. Like, it happened.
Yeah,
Before,
no, if you don't think
that's
bad
wrong,
calls
right?
don't. Hey, George,
Yeah,
I don't.
it's
That's
wrong.
bad, though, right?
Yeah, but like, let's talk about what's bad. You want to know what's bad?
But you're saying that it was bad enough to where it made the game. It drastically impacted the game. I think it impacted the game. I think the Bengals still lose. I
Yeah.
don't think the Bengals win.
Let me
The
tell you why the
deserve to lose
Bengals
that
lost.
game.
They came into the stadium calling it Burrowhead. Eli Apple doesn't know how to shut up, and oh boy,
What's that have to do with anything?
if you don't think a mind state going into the game affects you at all, I don't know what football you're watching. But we could get away from that. literally, like, you got to understand the theories y'all are saying. Like, let's think of the implications of a rigged Kelsey Bowl, George. Because if the NFL's rigged this year to get that to happen, then you're saying the NFL's always been rigged. And you're saying that instead of waiting for all the sports betting money to come in like it's doing in all these states, they decided we're going to cash out now. We're going to take a lot less money. We're going to rig it now. That's what you're saying.
I think the NFL's actually rigged? No.
If the NFL was actually rigged, the Bengals would never make the AFC Championship, let alone the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That would never happen.
Do I think that was a terribly officiated game from start to end? Yes.
The only thing I think was terribly officiated about that game was the 2nd and 9 play clock change.
Oh, can we talk? No, can we talk about when the Bengals got a stop on 3rd down? And they say a ref was trying to stop the play before the play happened.
Hey, George.
Yeah,
George.
I completely agree that was bad.
No, stop. No, wait, stop. Did you guys watch the replay, the Skycam? The ref is running on the field 7 seconds before they snap the 2nd down play.
And then instead of continuing to try to stop the play, he goes and starts officiating it and lets it run.
Yeah, and because that's what you're supposed to do. What the?
No, you're not. If it's a pre-play penalty, you are supposed to stop.
Yes, which is what he tried to do. But at the point where all of the rest, George, stop. Let me finish. George, I'm not. Stop. George, please let me finish a sentence. George, am I going to get to finish a sentence?
Probably not. I don't think I want.
All right. Well, I don't like. That's what I'm saying. Yes, you're supposed to stop it beforehand, which is what he was trying to do. So we agree that ref was doing the right thing, right? That ref was in the right, George, right?
Oh, but he never explained
okay. Wait, yes or no, George? Was that ref in the right to stop the play?
No, because I don't know why he was trying to stop it, and it was never explained.
It was explained. It was very... Stop. Would you like to hear the explanation? 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 Would you like to hear...
I want to talk real quick.
If you don't want to hear the explanation, I don't want to talk about it.
All right, good. We can move on.
All right, sweet. That's a real good way to do this podcast, George, because they clearly... I'm still going to say the explanation, because when the play happened, they stopped the play and they said on 2nd and 9, the play clock was supposed to be at 10:29, and the clock was supposed to be at 10:29, and the play clock was supposed to have 10 seconds on it. When the ref was supposed to start running the clock, only the play clock was supposed to start running because it was an incomplete pass and a penalty on 2nd and 9. When the ref gave the signal to start the play clock, the time clock also started going, meaning that the times were all off and that the play needed to be stopped. That was clearly explained in the game. You say you watched the whole game, but you choose to not watch the parts that clearly explain the parts you're confused about.
Later, I have two things. First of all, Travis Kelce in his podcast this week literally said, a player for the Chiefs who this helped out.
Hey,
says, I have absolutely no clue why they
George,
stop that.
Who hears the refs' calls better on the microphones?
I would hope on the field you'd be able to hear it.
Oh my!
Also, now here's my question for you, Nider. Nider, why did the referee stop trying to stop the play and decide to officiate the play?
Because he saw players running in front of him, and let's say after the fact,
his job was to stop the play.
Hey George, for example, how many do you for example, there are plenty of other instances where the play is supposed to stop, but it doesn't, right? For example, a fault. No, there is. I've seen it happen.
False start.
There are three Steelers false starts this year where the whole play went on and afterwards got brought back because it was a false start.
That is terrible official.
No, because when one official says the play needs to stop, that doesn't immediately mean that the play was supposed to stop. What they do then is you're saying, "Oh, we'll let the play run." But we have a little talk afterwards, and we figure out what happened, and
That's not how dead ball penalties work.
It's not how it's supposed to work, but it's how it works in practice occasionally. And if you want to ignore tens to hundreds of instances of this happening over the regular season, just because you want to fulfill your prophecy of this rigged...
Nider, I'm fine to admit that happens over the season, and like you agreed with me, that's terrible fucking officiating, and that's my whole point.
Yeah, but...
They didn't do their job.
Sure, but that happens all the time. Again, that's our point. If you're saying it's not any worse now, because I've seen it happen to the Steelers 3 times in a game where it only happened once. Like, this is my point, George. Like,
that shit that just happened in that Chiefs-Bengals game.
Hey, George. Hey, what happened after that drive, George? Do you know what happened after that drive?
I know nothing came of that drive.
They punted. Like,
I'm not saying that impacted the game. I'm saying it was terrible officiating. That's my
then
whole
why?
point.
If it didn't impact the game, why are we talking about it?
Because it was terrible officiating.
If it was terrible officiating, I think it would impact the game.
I have 2 points I want to bring up. The first thing is if I'm allowed to speak, that's cool. The first thing is that I agree that the officiating was terrible, but I don't think it had as much of an impact on the game as everyone's saying. Did it have an impact? Sure. Yeah. Did I think it caused the Bengals to lose the game? No. I thought there was a bunch of other instances or other parts of the game that caused them to lose. And George, when you say this is the worst officiated game you've ever seen, I've seen worse. I just don't know
You've
seen worse games. I feel like you've had to have seen worse games. Like this wasn't that bad of a game.
I was sitting there watching it, saying I can't think to myself in a game. Now here's what I do want to say. I'm gonna get rid of any games of a team I'm a fan of because you get emotionally invested in your own team. Like I'm gonna forget any Browns game I ever watched. I was sitting there saying, I've never watched a game of two teams where I'm not invested in either team. I don't care who wins. And I'm just watching this game and say, wow, this officiating's terrible.
I think it's very easy to say,
I felt more that way than that game.
The end of the Drew Brees era in New Orleans, those few playoff runs they went into, I feel like there was a few games in those that were very poorly officiated that cost the Saints playoff.
Yeah, the one that I'm thinking of, right on the 2-yard line, the Saints guy getting bodied.
The blatant pass interference that literally altered the entire course of the game.
Yeah.
All right, here's my closing statement, if you will. Did the officiating impact the game? Yes, but officiating impacts every game. If the officiating would have went a different way, the Bengals easily could have won based off officiating alone. But there's also a million other ways or different little things that the Chiefs could have won this way or the Bengals could have won that way because it was such a close game. So I'm not going to say it's just the officiating. I don't want to state that claim. All I'm trying to say, and this is all I've been trying to say the whole time, is when I was just sitting there watching that game as a third-party observer, I don't care who wins. I was sitting there thinking inside my head, wow, this officiating's so bad that I can't think of a time when it's been worse.
Yeah, maybe it's just because I'm a Steelers fan, but we literally have lost. I mean, let's look at the Jesse James catch.
I said you shouldn't look at Steelers games.
No,
I shouldn't look.
I don't need to look at. I don't need to be a biased fan to know that the NFL ruled the Jesse James touchdown was a touchdown, George.
I can think of a million Browns games where I feel the same way.
Are you telling me the Jesse James touchdown play is less impactful than the referee in this game?
I do not know the Jesse James touchdown play you're referring to.
You don't.
That was called one that wasn't one.
Oh, Santonio Holmes, his feet were not down.
Nope.
I mean,
if you just want to go off of games this year, right? Like I think the Patriots-Vikings was a badly called game. I think there was one of the Titans-Jaguars was worsely called. I mean, I won't. There was a very bad Washington-Dallas game that was called, but you don't want to do favorite team, so I won't talk about it. I'm just saying, like when you say this is the worst officiating game, I've watched that whole game. I've watched it with other people. We talked about it. I just didn't see. Was it bad?
No, don't get me again. Like I said
was
too.
Was it the worst game
Twitter?
Ever? No. I just disagree.
Should we use Twitter as an objective statistic?
No, because my point is you're using pea brains. You're using pea brains, George.
If you logged on Twitter during that game, everyone in America was tweeting about how bad the officiating was. And that was not happening during the first game.
Sure, because people actually cared about a game that was close. It's hard to watch a 38-7 game. First off, George.
No, I'd never seen more people tweeting about officiating.
George, and again, like I said too, I think at a very, very surface level, if you're just watching the game to watch the game, maybe it could appear bad. I think if you put any level of thought into the calls on the field and you actually listen to like audio with the game.
I'm not thinking when I watch football.
What?
You act like I wasn't thinking when I watched the game.
George, you didn't hear the explanation for the call that you're angry about.
I think it's bullshit.
Well, you said it wasn't explained at all when it clearly was. Like, they stopped the game for 2 minutes to explain it.
The players on the field didn't understand what was happening.
George.
I mean,
Still
all
didn't
right,
understand
in
anything.
fairness, I'm going to defend Nider's point here for the players. Like, dude, there are players in the NFL that don't know that, like, that didn't know that, like, overtime was a one-possession thing. Or
George.
that you could tie.
George.
So, like, let's not, like, say the players
The
not knowing
players,
matters so much.
hey, here, you want to know the difference between the players and a person watching on a TV, George? We have a direct audio feed to listen to what the referee is saying. They do
Snyder,
not.
Have you ever been to a live football game?
If yes, and they miss calls on the
Bend it through the whole stadium.
do calls get missed on the stadium stuff all the time. The calls those mics primarily go to the TV first. And if they're able to get the stadium to work, that's a separate thing. Those are not the same system, George.
Nider, you're trying to tell me that they make sure the people watching on their couch know before
Yes,
the people
because
on
there's
the
more.
field know what happened.
Yes, because there's more.
Oh my god.
George,
We're
if you
moving
don't
on.
think
I'm
catering
done.
to if you don't think
No,
catering to
we're moving on.
Hey, George,
We're moving on.
Okay.
I
This
can't
is-
talk about this.
You can't apparently. Like you're the only one
More
that
important,
can't.
it's
Like
more important that Andrew Nider knows what the call was than Travis Kelce.
George, when you're Travis Kelce, it doesn't matter what the call was. You go to the line of scrimmage and you do your play. Am I wrong?
God.
James, tell me I'm wrong.
Stop. It is so important to know what the call is.
Why?
I think what Nider's trying to say is
George,
that, like,
Travis
in the
Kelce's job is to get to the line of scrimmage and run routes and block occasionally, George.
Why is it important that you know what the call is? Your job's to sit there and watch popcorn.
Because we pay the money.
You're watching popcorn, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Because
my
we pay them
God.
money to do that, George. That's the difference.
I think what Nider's saying is that like the commentators will explain a lot of calls.
Yeah,
more
George.
so
That too.
than
I'm
what's
not just
going on
talking
in
about the
field.
refs, George. Yeah, the Travis Kelce's listening to Joe Buck on the field. Yeah, he's got his own TV back there. Like, what are you talking about?
Trying to argue
Think,
right now that it's
think
okay
for like a second. You're right. He's got Tony Romo in his ear. We've lost
So George is late. The George.
Hey guys, Drew here. You might have been able to tell things got a little choppy there. Sorry for this brief technical intermission. But boys are cooling down. They're being fine, and I promise you, we're all fine afterwards. You know, we argue like this all the time, so don't let that scare you. But we're coming back into the feed right now. That's an interesting question.
George is back.
We're good. Are we continuing? We're still just talking. We just talked something.
I just had to go poop.
Oh, is that
Okay.
what happened?
Oh no, I was pissed.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
No. I figured that
I thought
much.
you were angry.
Yeah,
You're
no.
like,
I think we could just move on to bulk portion 2.
we're just gonna cut out that entire
Talking
part.
about that?
What?
Well, we were just having a conversation.
We were talking. We were just talking generally. Yeah.
We were just having a conversation.
This episode might just be not worth uploading at this point, but we'll keep going.
Well, we've talked about maybe not uploading this episode,
Yeah.
but we're all good. We're all chill. Good. We're gonna take a breath. We're all gonna breathe. We're all gonna...
here's the thing. I'm never gonna let fighting about a Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh yeah. No. Like
with my
Yeah.
friendships.
we're
Yeah.
ripping Fortnite after this.
Oh, I'm gonna go to the gym, so I actually kind
What?
of do want to wrap this up quickly now that I know I'm going to the gym. But
Bruh.
gym bro.
All right. Let's get into the breaking news. Then.
but
Let's get into
we're all good. Let's. I mean, we
I
can
only
just,
know about-
honestly,
I mean, I'm fine.
We can-
This is a lot of the stuff I feel like is pretty headliney.
All right, let's run through this shit.
Yeah.
I don't have my thing in front of me, so go ahead and say
All right.
something.
All right. Here we go.
All right. The first thing we have on was Denver hiring Sean Payton, and then the Saints and Broncos actually trading for Sean Payton.
Denver, in my opinion, it's like a safe and risky hire at the same time. it's safe in that you're not going to get a dud in Sean Payton, but it's also risky in that if he doesn't like super pay off, you gave up multiple first round picks
See,
for
this
him.
just sounds like a similar situation with a quarterback in Denver, where that's what everyone was saying. Like, he's either not going to be a dud or he's going to be good, but then he's really bad.
Denver has a lot bought in on this team that doesn't look like a Super Bowl favorite, and they've given up. They've given up the resources for a quarterback and head coach that should.
I knew they were going down when they got rid of Fant. That's.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, so I think this is just a good hire. Like, I mean, like, did you give up a lot? Yeah, like a first and a second's a lot, but Sean Payton's proven to be a really good head coach. Like, I think it's fair to say he's probably one of the best head coaches in the league right now, even though he's been gone for a year. And the thing is, like, I think if there's any head coach in the league that could revive Russ, it's probably Sean Payton. He's one of the few that probably could do it. And I think even if Russell Wilson after this year, like, he's still terrible, doesn't have a good season again, fizzles out, I still think that having Sean is. I don't think they released the contract details yet, or did they? Did they release them or no?
Not to my knowledge.
It's 5 years.
Oh goodness.
Okay.
Like the highest paid coach ever, but 5 years, pretty fair paycheck.
But like I've seen the cap breakdown of this. Like, if say they do end up like Russell Wilson sucks again next year, they can cut him. They can cut him this year if they wanted to, but they probably won't not if they got paid. But they could cut him next year, have a pretty bad cap situation for the second year of Sean Payton's tenure, which I think still wouldn't be as bad as the Falcons was this year somehow, but they could do it, and then probably have the number 1 overall pick, and Sean Payton can draft the top QB for his next 3 years. So even if the Russell Wilson thing doesn't work, they still have a pretty good team that with a good head coach can do well.
Dude, I think Hackett might have really sucked because I like Denver's roster.
I can give you. Well, you got to remember too. They had some pretty key injuries. Like, wasn't their main running back tear his ACL week 2?
Monte Williams tore ACL early. Yeah. But I mean, that roster still is. It actually has a solid O line on paper. Russell Wilson's still a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. Wide receiving core is not bad with Judy and Sutton. Tim Patrick was out all year with a torn ACL.
You've got
And then defensively, their defense was sick this year.
Defensively, they're really good. They got rid of Bradley
Justin
Chubb,
Simmons, Baron Browning.
On paper, they should be good. And I think maybe they just had an off year. Russ was settling into his life. He had to warm up the toilets to beat the toilets.
I do think their O-line's a weakness. On paper, it looks okay, but I think we've seen in actuality they have some holes there.
I like Garrett Bowles a lot. I like Alton Reisner a lot, but
yeah, like, again, it just really depends on like I said, if anyone can save Russell Wilson's career, fix him, it's Sean Payton. So like they could do something next year.
Imagine telling someone in 2013 you got Sean Payton and Russell Wilson together,
and it wasn't like a guaranteed dub.
There's a real chance that Denver gets a winning record next year, but I could also see them not. Like, it gets the
Denver feels like a really volatile team.
Tough division.
Really
hard
tough
division.
They're in the AFC, which is the harder conference. Like, it's not easy.
And I feel like this season is just going to be a looming shadow over the organization for a while, at least for a little bit of this offseason.
If Russell Wilson is bad next year, he's gone. Like, they are going to cut him after next year if he's bad. He cannot afford to have this.
Oh year. Yeah. No, I agree. It's just
my prediction is Russell Wilson's just good enough to not get cut.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
he's not going to play. He might double his toilets this year. I'm hoping.
Oh, did you guys see the thing about Vic Fangio too? How Denver might be taking him from the Dolphins?
I have seen some Vic Fangio rumors, but I don't see him ending up. I think he ended up committing to Miami very recently.
No, he didn't. So Miami came out and said he committed, and then a bunch of NFL insiders came out and said his agent said that he did not commit, and so now they're trying to drive up the price again. Because originally Miami offered to make him the highest paid DC, and they thought he was just going to take it. And then he got inquiries from like the rumored teams he got inquiries from are Denver and San Fran. And so he's debating whether to go to those two or Miami, which honestly, Miami might be the worst of the three, to be completely honest.
Miami has a good defense too, though. I think Miami has a really good defense.
They do. I like Mike McDaniels a lot, and they have a good defense. But there's also the looming Tua situation that I don't think they can solve.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's tough. I mean,
another head coaching hire in the league, I maybe favorite hire of the offseason, DeMeco Ryans to Houston. I mean, first of all, DeMeco was an awesome player. I remember watching him growing up. Everyone only has good things to say about him. I know J.J. Watt came out. And
he's giving me a Tomlin vibe.
Some really good words about him. He was incredible in San Francisco this year. He led the number one defense, at least statistically, in the NFL. I think he's a Houston. He played for Houston. He's loved down there in Houston. I think if someone could bring that franchise out of that they're in, it's DeMeco Ryans. I thought the hire was awesome.
I think this is a big thing, too. I think it's a little separate, but I do believe this happened this past week. Didn't they raise the cap space by like 14 mil?
Yeah, they did, yes.
And so, like, how much on average? Like, is that just like 2 players? Is that even 2 players? Like, what do you think we're getting, George?
They raised it to about.
That's like 14
mil. So
that's about 14 veteran minimum contracts.
I guess you're right.
Or that's half a season of Deshaun Watson next year. Depends on who you're signing.
It's a sizable. I mean, it's either like one sizable player, like 60 mil a year player, or it's like 2 decent players. Basically,
in Browns terms, that's keeping John Johnson. Or not.
In Steelers terms, what is that, George?
In Steelers terms, that's keeping Deontay Johnson.
No.
Just monetary wise. That's just the thing, monetary wise. They don't have to do that.
I don't want them to. That better not be what that means, George.
But I like the hire as well. I mean, I like it from the standpoint of like the Texans organization is a dumpster fire right now, and because of that, they need to get someone who is like an adult in the room. They're committed to, that has a good track record, that could just right the ship, and that's DeMeco Ryans. Like George, like you said, great track record. A lot of people like him. There's no one has anything bad to say about him. Obviously, a pretty good defensive coordinator. My only real issue with it is, like, I just think this is such an offensively driven league that I think you just having a defensive head coach hurts you in the long run. Like, it might help. It might be good for a few years, but, like, I think we're seeing this with Buffalo this year, where, like, they lost Brian Dable as their OC. And although they had 13 wins, Josh Allen did not look the same as the last 2 years. He looked a lot worse at times.
You can't lose your OC. But
the thing is, like, usually the OCs are getting hired as head coaches because teams are seeing like, oh, we need the good OC. It's like really hard to keep them. Yeah, so that's my point. It's harder for long-term success.
Listen,
Bill Belichick's had a lot of success in this league and recent success, comparatively. So
it's not.
Here's why DeMeco Ryans is a good hire. This is the number one thing. This is the first time I could remember in my life the Houston Texans having a head coach that's a Houston guy. There was before DeMeco Ryans, there was no such thing as a Houston guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
Newer team. They don't have a lot of history or culture. Like, like there's Pittsburgh. Tomlin's like a Pittsburgh guy. You know what I mean? Like, DeMeco Ryans, this is the first time we're hiring someone, and the Houston fan base can be like, hey, we remember cheering for him to rip someone's head off, and now he's coaching our guys. Like, so that's why I like it.
It's something to build a culture around. Yeah, for sure. And especially when you got guys like JJ backing it like full, like, it's the question is whether or not they can actually get like players on their team.
I mean, they're gonna get it. They're drafting a QB this year, so we'll see.
Listen, is Davis still there? I'm rooting for Davis.
Davis Mills. I mean, he is, but like, either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud's getting drafted there, and
I want to see the long neck beat him in camp. I want to see it happen.
That would be really funny. But I actually don't. I'm actually not low on Davis Mills. I'm probably more like media. Like I'm probably more like neutral.
He's
on him.
I think he's
like
a good backup to have.
I think he's a good back. I think he could be a decent starter. Honestly, he just is on Houston, so it's impossible for him to actually succeed.
I could agree with that. It's hard to analyze what we've seen with him on Houston, but also just from what I've seen, forgetting what team he's on, I wouldn't say he's going to be.
Sure, but my point is, in the era of Brock Purdy, like, oh my God, imagine if they had Davis Mills.
Brock Purdy, torn UCL.
Yeah. Minimum 6-month recovery. Could be longer. He may need surgery. They don't know yet.
Do you hear the Kyle Shanahan interview about Jimmy G?
No.
Yeah, they said he's gone, right?
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan got asked. He's like, "So, what do you think the future with Jimmy G is?" And he's like, he was literally like, "Yeah, there's no future. Like Jimmy's gone." Which I'll be honest, I think at this point, I think Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback for San Fran next year.
I mean, he's still coming. He still hasn't recovered from his broken ankle, too. Though he probably will be, but it's going to be. So the thing that I can see happening. And this all depends on if Brock Purdy recovers from his UCL injury, because obviously that's a really bad injury for QBs.
He's gonna miss all summer camp and everything in training camp. Brock Purdy.
Yeah, it's a bad injury to have. But yeah, he'll be out for OTAs, but he'll be back for camp, right?
Yeah. Wait. When is Trey Lance? Who do they have at quarterback for training?
For OTAs, I don't know if Josh Johnson. Like I don't know if anyone will be out.
Do they have a quarterback?
I mean, training camp starts late July, early August, and that's right at your 6-month timeline for Brock Purdy, so it depends on how he heals.
I think he's a different animal. He's going to be healed in 4.
Trey Lance honestly may have saved his career by Brock Purdy getting hurt, but I don't know. I mean, the thing that's up with Trey Lance is, like, you've seen so little of him, and, like, he's obviously an athletically gifted guy, but, like, he hasn't looked composed. Like the thing with him and Purdy is that Purdy has looked very composed when he's been in for the most part. Like he's looked extremely composed, able to make all the correct reads, do it all. Trey Lance has been the exact opposite. Gives you the athletic element, has a strong arm, all this stuff.
Kyle Shanahan has to ask himself: is it easier to make Trey Lance composed, or easier to make Brock Purdy more talented?
Yeah, but I mean. But, like, you don't need to be the most
Brady
talented guy to win, though.
Yeah. All right, but speaking of talents, best of the best were playing this weekend out in Las Vegas.
And did any of us watch them?
Me and Steve watched for 10 minutes. We watched for 10 minutes.
I saw a highlight of the flag football game.
I saw Terry McLaurin make a cool water balloon catch.
I was watching it, this flag football game, and I was semi-entertained.
Well, that's sort of my worry. My worry is that flag football is still more entertaining than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I think it was. I did feel bad for the linemen. I can't believe they didn't let them run routes against each other. They were just sitting on the bench on their phones. Like, come on, why couldn't you go
Why couldn't you have if you get to 4th down, you have to bring the lineman out?
Everyone wanted to watch Joel Bitonio run a slant against Dexter Lawrence.
Dude, that would have been freaking awesome. They'll have the O-lineman just be the QBs.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, so I think we all agree on this one. No fighting right now. The Pro Bowl should be canceled.
Yeah, but
yeah, I mean,
there needs to be something though.
I think you should still honor them. I think there should still be you could still have Pro Bowl selections.
Yeah, can we just have a dinner?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Pro Bowl dinner.
Just a nice the NFL gives them a nice little check.
They get the A5 Wagyu.
No, don't they do that thing after the season where they give everyone rewards for
honors?
Yeah, why don't they just do that here?
Well, this Wednesday.
That's literally this week.
Well, that's what I'm just do that instead of the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl's not fun now that no one tries anymore, which is understandable because you don't want to get hurt. I get it, but
you don't want to pull a Garrett.
Garrett still got hurt.
Yeah, I will still always every Pro Bowl will watch the highlight of Sean Taylor just decking the punter every time. It's so good. Rest in peace, Sean.
All right,
the man with the greatest memorial of all time.
Now,
the biggest news.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady is gone again.
He says for good this time.
That's what he said last time.
Mm-hmm. These statements are true. These statements are very true.
My favorite thing surrounding the Tom Brady retirement has been a bunch of like his ex-teammates or buddies. Like I know Peyton Manning was one of them. Julian Edelman was one of them. Where like they gave him like really heartfelt posts. Or like Peyton Manning told me like, not told me, he told the internet, and I watched.
He told George.
George has an inside source.
He wrote him like this really long handwritten letter, sent him like a couple really nice gifts with it. And then he like unretired. And he was like, "I'm not doing that again." Julian Edelman, something along the same lines. Julian Edelman said he got like, they got him like very nice retirement gifts, like heartfelt stuff, and then he unretired. And they're like, "Yeah, he's not getting nothing this time."
I mean, that's fair.
I think my favorite part of the retirement is the sand salesman. From going to the absolute
That's
hustler
hilarious.
going to the beach where he retired, finding the proper camera angles that you have to record a selfie like that from, and then getting jars of sand and selling it for 6 figures. I kind of want to see what it's sold for.
Yeah, let's see what it's sold for real quick.
That's incredible.
Oh God. Let me try to pull this in. I'm seeing it. Someone at least bid $98,000.
Jesus Christ.
That's awesome.
For a jar.
Oh yeah, it's at 99,900 right now. Oh, it's a second
fuck
jar. Oh, he's got a second jar. This is the second jar. He's selling his second jar.
What the hell?
He got 2 jars. I see in the picture. There's a second one behind it now.
I think I read someone where the first one did sell for 6 figures.
The second one is almost at 6 figures, and it has 6 days and 19 hours left. It has been on sale for 7 hours and is at $100,000 already, with 119 bids.
The problem is there's people that have too much money. That's the problem.
This is true.
This is just money laundering, right? Like, this is actually just this is just money laundering.
It has to be. There's no way it's not.
Like, some guy went to the beach and bought this off of himself to say the money went somewhere else. Like, I am willing to bet.
A little Ozark moment.
Oh
there,
no!
Hey,
Someone
everyone,
has a
real
whole
quick.
12-pack of jars of them. People have been they're getting mass produced now.
Oh no! What's up,
hey,
George?
Guys, real quick, everyone, let's list our favorite Tom Brady moment.
Mine.
Favorite Tom Brady moment.
I could tell you my favorite Tom Brady moment. It was
All right, let's hear it.
cold 2018, 2019 night, maybe 2020. I was in the first row thanks to some generous seat donations by Mr. Jason and me, Mike Applesauce. A couple of the boys were watching a game. 1 minute left. Tom Brady's got a drive on the Steelers. Renegade comes on. The whole place goes insane. And Tom Brady throws the ball to Joe Hayden on the 5-yard line to kill the game and give the Steelers the win. That was a pretty cool gift, Tom. Thank you for that one.
All right. I have 2 favorite Tom Brady moments. My first one was after he won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, and he threw the trophy from the one boat to the other, just hammered. And everyone's like, no, no, no. And he throws it, and he just turns around and has this little drunk smile on his face. And then my second Tom Brady moment, maybe this isn't a Tom Brady moment exactly, but when his jersey got stolen from the one Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. No, that was a good one. Let me think here. My favorite Tom Brady moment. You know what? It took me a minute to think of this. This is a great sports moment for me. This is no offense to George. I don't want George to take offense to this, but I remember this game vividly when the Browns were up 14 on the Patriots. And then the Patriots, in under 2 minutes, got back-to-back onside kicks, and Tom Brady scored two touchdowns and a field goal within 2 minutes to beat them. That might be my favorite.
That's not that impressive. Joe Flacco did that this year with the Jets.
Well, that was only one. Was that 2 onside kicks?
That was just
Was it one? That was just one. Yeah.
That should be a Steven Gowski moment, not a Tom Brady moment.
Yeah, but Tom Brady made some good throws, and it was just like the most Browns thing ever. Like, oh, you guys were winning by you guys were winning easily. Like, there should have been no chance you were losing that game. And then Tom Brady was like, I can't lose to the Browns. Losing to the Browns? No, I can't do that.
I got another moment. It was when he unretired the first time, and that way Big Ben can have his own draft year and not have to be snuffed out and not get first ballot because of Tom and Julian Edelman.
Big Ben still would have been first ballot.
Not if, cause again, I'm telling you they're gonna put Hines and Ben in the same year, and then the immediate year after they're gonna put Brady and Edelman.
I don't know if Edelman will make it, man.
Does Edelman have a Hall of Fame?
That's what people say. That's what all the sportscasters like to argue.
He does have a Super Bowl MVP, which is kind of crazy. But
he does.
Julian Edelman's Super Bowl MVP is the same as the Andre Iguodala Finals MVP.
Yeah, no, even if it's not him, like they might postpone Gronk a little. I think Gronk's too good to not go first ballot.
Yeah. Well, the issue is with Edelman Edelman had a great playoff career. He just never had a good regular season career.
Gronk's first ballot for sure.
I also could just be too idealistic, but I really want that Hines Ward Big Ben just an all Steelers year. Let the Hall of Fame game be at Hines. Just give it to us one year.
I think they're gonna throw it. I think they're gonna throw the Browns in the Hall of Fame game next year with Joe Thomas.
That would be a good one. That'd be a good one.
Where are we going?
We've got some other stuff. We can head to golf or the NBA.
Oh, well, actually, before golf, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Aaron Rodgers leaving Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay has, openly talked about, looking at options of where Aaron Rodgers could go. Aaron Rodgers said he doesn't know what's going on with his future. Do we want to make some quick, where do we think Aaron Rodgers will end up next year predictions? Or, while it's still early?
I can give you one, and I think it'll be a good segue to your golf little tournament, because on the golf course this week, Aaron Rodgers was asked, because Devontae said he's looking for neighbors. Devontae Adams wants some neighbors. They need a quarterback down there. And much like you said, I think they might try to mend a relationship with Derek Carr. I don't think that's happening. A-Rod's going to Las Vegas, pairing back up with Devontae.
I kind of like A-Rod in Vegas. I won't even lie.
And he's going to go back to Devontae, and he's going to have a team, and the Raiders are going to be dangerous. They're going to be dangerous with Aaron Rodgers.
No, that's a good one. I like that one.
Mr. Ayahuasca Man is going to Las Vegas.
That would make sense in my mind.
To be honest, where I think it would be cool. I don't think he'll go here, but it would be cool if he went to San Fran. I think that would be really funny.
Oh yeah.
But you're going to say Washington for a second.
No, God, no, please. I don't need that. I don't need that.
Aaron Rodgers and Snyder go to a dinner.
There's another place where I think it'd be cool. I just don't think there are weapons there yet, but I think we talked about them earlier.
I think where Aaron Rodgers is actually going to go, I think he's going to go to the Jets. I think that's where he's going. They hired Nathaniel Hackett as their OC. Aaron Rodgers loves Nathaniel Hackett.
That's the Aaron Rodgers bait. Yeah, that's the Aaron Rodgers bait.
It really is.
Come on, Aaron.
They have a pretty good roster too. They're not bad. They could win if he goes there.
Oh, and
they could actually do well.
And it's just the same thing. Mr. Ayahuasca Man will have the time of his life in New York City. He's got good options all around to live his whatever he's doing lifestyle out now. My thing is
Aaron Rodgers on the Jets.
George, do you have any other picks, or are you just saying Raiders?
I like Vegas. I like Vegas a lot.
Vegas would make sense.
I think that's just the lowest odds right now. That's just the easy pick though. However, I said though, on the golf course, maybe it's not as good thing though, because he did say because Devontae's going to have to buy the house for him. He didn't seem necessarily that he was in the housing market, in the area. So I don't know.
I think Devontae could afford another house after this contract.
Well, I think that's his point too.
Devontae can afford a lot of houses after this.
Devontae might afford his whole neighborhood.
Speaking of golf, Aaron Rodgers just won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am.
He did. He won the Pro-Am with. I forget who was his amateur. I'm usually pretty on top.
Ben Silverman, maybe Silverbrook Silverman. We could look it up if we felt like it.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't really pay attention to the amateur part of it. I just watched the pro part.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was the pro part of that.
Oh,
Aaron Rodgers the pro, that golf dude was the amateur. James, who you got in waste management this weekend? Fun tournament.
Honestly, dude, this
first
tournament
first tournament of the year in my mind, to be honest.
No, this is really the kickoff for the year. I mean, the field for this tournament's great. I mean, you got Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, you got Rory McIlroy,
right?
Scotty won returning champ. Yep, Scotty won it last year. You got Rory coming off a win. You got Rahm coming. You got Rahm playing. Rahm's a favorite. I think between Rory and Rahm, those are the two favorites. Scheffler's up there too. You got JT playing, Justin Thomas playing there, Jordan Spieth.
Jordan played pretty shitty this weekend.
He got some rough luck because he had to play a few holes in the terrible weather. He didn't play terrible, but he hasn't played great. Cantley's going to be there too. Xander Schauffele's going to be there. This is just a start.
My boy Max Homa going to be there?
Oh yeah, Max Homa's there. Oh yeah.
Max Homa.
Yo, I think he's going for his third win for this one.
He's won this twice?
Actually, not this tournament, but he's won twice.
Oh.
2 or 3 times he's won. But no, this is a really good tournament. Typically guys who are bad at putting putt really well here. So this is kind of anyone's game. I wouldn't be surprised if Scheffler goes back to back, but I could honestly see someone like Homa or honestly Cam Young could swoop in and win it.
My sleeper picks Homa, but I'm gonna pick a winner, someone you haven't mentioned yet.
Okay, go for it.
Hideki Matsuyama.
Hideki's won this tournament twice.
I'm well aware of this.
He could win this. Yeah, he's been playing some good golf too. He's playing some real good golf.
Hideki's been playing some good golf, man. He's good here. He's not the fan favorite in America usually, but
he plays pretty well here. Has a good record here. Cantley played Scotty really well here last year. I don't think Scotty's going to repeat. I'm sure. Who do I think is going to win this? Tough.
I don't know golfers.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I have an autograph from Rory McIlroy.
That's a pretty good autograph to have. Pretty solid one. Hideki's a great pick though.
Is he in? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, then that's my pick.
Rory's one of the favorites.
Betting on Rory.
Rory going back to back. He won a tournament 2 weeks ago.
He's hot. He's got the hot hands.
I honestly think I like either JT, like Justin Thomas, to win this, or I honestly like Max Homa to win this tournament. I could see him winning this very easily. Not easily, but I could see him winning it.
All right. I really don't care about Kyrie Irving getting traded, and I want to get to the gym. So
that's the only thing I was going to say. We don't have to talk about Kyrie, but I think I wanted to bring it back up because I'm looking at the NBA's records, and the Nuggets and the Kings are 1 and 3 in the West, respectively. So there's no way we can pick those as our neighborhood watch team.
The Kings are 3?
Yeah, they're 29 and 22.
I had no clue that the Kings were 3 in the West.
Neither did I, but they are 3 in the West.
This is the same thing with Jacksonville. We just assumed they would be terrible, and they're somehow good.
No, that's what I'm saying. Hear me out. I have an option. Now, this is a little biased because I already like them a little bit. But they're middle of the East. They've got a losing record.
Talking about the Bulls, aren't you?
DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. They've got some hype players. Lonzo Ball. And they're right in the middle. They have the potential to be good.
I don't think I could root for a Chicago sports team.
Really?
Okay. Who do you think then, George? Who do you think we should?
I think we should root for the New Orleans Pelicans.
They're right about that. They're 27 and 27. Who plays on the Pelicans? That's somebody I know.
Bryce Zion plays for them.
That's right, Zion.
Do you say Bryce plays for them?
Yeah, that is Jason's joke, by the way, not mine.
I know.
Oh my
we
God.
could root for the Timberwolves.
Listen, I'm a Zion fan ever since I saw him live and demolish Notre Dame at Notre Dame.
Zion's a beast.
He
can't
is.
Stay healthy.
I love playing him in 2K. He is very fun to play in 2K.
I think it would be fun to do the Timberwolves, to be honest.
Listen,
fun.
that's my team in my career. I'm a T-Wolves fan too. I can watch the T-Wolves.
I mean, I don't have anything against the T-Wolves. They got a Buckeye out there, D'Angelo Russell.
Is
They do.
Ant-Man still
Alright,
Ant-Man? That's Ant-Man too. Yeah.
Ant-Man's
Oh,
their best.
Gobert's on their team now. I forgot Gobert was
Oh,
there.
fuck Rudy Gobert. He brought
Yeah,
Kobe
fuck-
to America.
Yeah,
Oh my
fuck Rudy
God.
Gobert. I did not.
All right, we'll figure it out. Give us more
Figure it out
options.
later.
Don't.
Super Bowl pick.
We're fine. We appreciate. It was from like a Zach Freifogel or something like.
Vogel.
Right, Fogel.
But
Hey, at least he listens.
yes, he listens. Hear me out. Let's find someone that's not in the top 3 of their division or conference, whatever it is. Conference.
It's
Alright.
conference. Divisions in basketball mean absolutely nothing, though.
Yeah. All right. With that, we pretty much have one more game to talk about. And I think we could just put our picks in together here to wrap this episode up a little quickly. So, James.
Later, let's hear it.
No, James said wanted to go first.
James got to give his analysis first, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because, I don't have anything to play for. I'm, like, in relegation, so this is kind of just to, like, maybe save some
Go out on a positive note.
Yeah, save some pride here.
Put a little cherry on top.
We right now the Lions Chiefs the Eagles are favored -1.5, but you said that's been going up between 1.5 to 2, right? That's been like shifting.
Yeah, we'll say 1.5 right now. We'll rock with 1.5.
Yeah, we'll rock with that. You know, everything is pointing to the Eagles roster wise, right? Like they have better defense in my opinion. They have better O-line. They've got better receivers. Their running backs are about the same as the Chiefs. I mean, Miles Sanders is pretty good, but that's about the same. But the one difference to me is that the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, and that's what makes this tough. Because I think Mahomes can win it for him. I don't think the Chiefs O-line is as bad as when they played Tampa those years ago when Tampa's D-line just destroyed the Chiefs. So, and this is also just me because I don't want the Eagles to win. I'm going to be honest. There's bias there too. I'm taking the Chiefs +1.5. Rocking with the better QB. Because I think Mahomes is better than Hurts. Which is quite obvious.
Nicer, son.
I've been thinking about this game. I've been thinking about it. And I know I said before the show that I wanted to go against my bet. But I'm looking at this, and everything about this game is telling me Chiefs. James says the roster. I'll agree. I don't know what the status health-wise is of they lost everyone almost last week to injury. Is Juju and is everyone back?
Yeah, both teams are essentially at full strength.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really think there's anyone majorly injured.
No, I just like they were down to 2 receivers at the end of that game. The Chiefs were so my thing is, I think, yes, the running game for the Philadelphia Eagles is scary, but I think while I agree overall the defense is probably better for the Eagles, I think Kansas City is particularly strong where they need to be to stop the Eagles, and that's the run. My second point gosh darn this laundry machine. But my second point is going to be that I'm just looking at this thing. Who did Kansas City beat to get here? They beat Mr. Trevor Lawrence. They had to go beat Joe Burrow. 2 top 10 QBs at the end of the season, at least in my opinion. Who did the Eagles have to beat to get here? Danny Dimes and Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey.
Give me Patrick Mahomes as a real QB, because when I look at this game, again, like I've said many times here, I think the better quarterback will win you the game. And while Jalen Hurts is better than Danny Dimes, and Jalen Hurts is better than Brock Purdy, I don't think he's better than Patty Mahomes. So give me the Chiefs +1.5 too.
All right. I'm so happy you guys went this way. My money on DraftKings is now the same way in which I'm picking. And I guess there's no need to hide it. I'm picking the Eagles because I have to. But I like the Eagles pick. And there's one specific part of the game where I think the Eagles have a particular advantage over the Chiefs. And I think it's the Eagles' offensive line. Specifically, like, Chris Jones is good. Don't get me wrong. But outside of Chris Jones, I think Kansas City's a pretty mid defensive line, and I think they're pretty mid at linebacker. I think they got, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay Jr., that's nothing crazy. Last week they had to deal with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, and they ran the ball well. I think Philly's offensive line, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, 4 Pro Bowlers. I think those boys can control this game enough to bring Philadelphia home. Give me the Eagles. Blah. Blah. Go Birds. Steve, how's it go?
Go Bird.
Can I get that from a Philly boy?
Go Birds.
What do we go? E-A-G-L-E-S. Eagles.
I think we're gonna need to be active on Twitter again this week. For this.
I'll be real. I kind of forgot how good the Chiefs have a pretty good D line. I forgot they have some boys on.
That's what I'm saying, James. I'm telling you,
Frank Clark's good. I'm not.
Frank Clark.
I don't know their names. I've just watched them all year, and they played good ball.
Who is it outside of Frank Clark and Chris Jones?
They got Carlos Dunlap there too. Also, Carl Loftus
Dunlap's
has been
real old. Carl Loftus hasn't done much in the playoffs, so.
Yeah, but he's been good. I mean, he can have an appearance.
He's been saving it up, George. He's keeping it in the tank for the Super Bowl.
The rookie's been trying to hide his talents.
Yes. For the Super Bowl, George. He wants that dub.
He could have a good game.
All right, I got to go to the gym. So.
Yeah, no worries. We're signing off anyways. If the Chiefs win, I take the trophy, and if the Eagles win, George does.
Hey, just think, the Chiefs could lose by 1, and you still win.
That is true.
That would be bad. I want the Chiefs to win. I bet that they're going to win the Super Bowl.
So you bet the money line?
I bet that they were the Super Bowl champions before the playoffs started.
Win by 2 possessions.
Oh, okay. That was a good pick. I
mean,
they're there.
And I also get $3 for every touchdown they throw in the postseason onto the winnings. So it's
oh wow.
Yeah, not that bad. Hoping it's a shootout tomorrow.
Ouch. Or in a week.
Yep. But we're gonna wrap that up. It's been a good episode. I think we can post it if we cut out the technical difficulties we had in the middle.
Yeah, we should just cut out that whole segment.
I think I'm gonna I think I have a good plan for it. I'm gonna have I've got a good idea. I'm gonna have it cut in and out with some static, and I'll be like, "Sorry to interrupt this broadcast. We are having technical difficulties. We will be back in 15 seconds." And then
I was gone for 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna cut that part out, Jordan.
Yeah.
What were you two shit talking?
No,
we weren't shit talking.
We were more just like, this is exactly what James said was gonna happen.
I was really just like, this is why I didn't want to have that conversation.
Yeah, but we don't want to have that conversation here either. So we're gonna wrap this episode up. It's been good, guys.
Peace out.
We're hoping to keep this going. And we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do with this podcast after this game because we want to keep it going. I think. All right, we're out of here.